Terrific run by Ebobisse, battling with Ziegler. Gonzalez is out. Open net. Valeri. Pace. 2-0. Portland down a man, but they're up 2 goals now. Diego Valeri might be taking the Timbers to the conference semis.
Timbers to the conference semis. New York City FC 2, night 1 of the 2018 Audi MLS Cup playoffs. Well, it is in the books. Night 1 of the knockout round, delivering some drama, some goals, some red cards. In the Eastern Conference, we know a matchup already. Atlanta United, NYCFC. We're still waiting out west. We got to see what happens tomorrow. DC and Columbus on night 2. And then, of course, we finish things off with LAFC and Real Salt Lake. Welcome to Audi MLS Playoff Central. Andrew Wiebe, Chucky, Dax McCarty. Just every time, man. I can't. It throws me off. It's a great outfit.
It's kind of turning into my alter ego. I really like it.
All right, so Dallas fell on their face. Everybody raise their hands if they have a perfect bracket challenge bracket going. Everybody, all 5 of us, picked this upset? No? Okay.
Baby Shark is
where you at? You okay? Keep that
Philly.
pacifier in.
I had Philly. I'm not happy about it.
All right.
But, you know.
Thoughts from this win for the Timbers, Dex?
Yeah, it's not really a big surprise for us. The game played out exactly how we all figured it would, except the number 10s ruled the day. Morales in the first game, Diego Valeri in the second game. You spend money on these players that you want to make big differences in games, and in the biggest games, they step up, and that's what happened.
Diego Valeri doubled his playoff goal total tonight. He now has 4. He had 2 coming into this evening. 2 massive goals. Hedges got a late one. Laris Mabiala with a red card. They were absolutely needed. They're going back to the Rose City for a game on Sunday. What stuck out to you, Calen?
Physicality, ugly match, but you know this is not something we are unfamiliar to seeing in the playoffs. But kicking the best player is a part of the playoffs. You will expect to see this with Acosta, some of the best players. That's a part of the game in the playoffs. But the difference is there are certain teams that can punish you, and those fouls start to turn into opportunities. Diego Valeri, they kicked him about 5 or 10 times before he got up, but he had the toughness to stand up. You put an opportunity like that in front of him, that was ultimately, you know, what got them off on the right track. So that physicality, I thought Portland was the tougher team, stood up to the challenge, and then their quality came through.
It goes back to what we were saying before the game, that quality is ultimately going to be the difference maker in this game. And when one team has Diego Valeri and Sebastian Blanco and Diego Chara, and the other team has lesser guys than that, then I come for your souls. The soul harvest for 2018 is complete.
Something tells me Maxi Urruti won't be going quietly into the night.
No. He's going to see that scythe and he's going to raise you a 2-footed challenge. He was not happy this night.
He brought his own.
He was very angry tonight.
He was. FC Dallas, their season is over. They've been upset at home in the knockout round. Here's how the schedule shakes out as we lead into Thursday and then potentially Sunday. Tomorrow night, of course, DC, Columbus Crew, SC. Then you've got right after that LAFC RSL. In the West, we just don't really know yet. Seeding is what it is. It's going to reseed after the knockout round. The top seed, which is Sporting Kansas City in the West, will get the lowest surviving seed from the knockout round out East. NYCFC, Atlanta, DC or Columbus against the Red Bulls. Possible rivalry there.
Are we rooting for RSL to win because we want to see Seattle, Portland in the next round? Are we rooting for the rivalry game?
I mean, it depends. It depends on whether you're a narrative guy or not. I tend to be a narrative guy. I just want to see good soccer. I want to see drama. That's what I'm looking for at this point. Let's go to the poll question that we put out for you tonight. The MVP of the first night of the knockout round, the first night of the Audi 2018 MLS Cup playoffs is maybe Maxi Morales, maybe David Villa, maybe Diego Valeri, perhaps Gio Savarese for, making a tough decision and then getting it right in this game. I think Jeff Attinella would be a call out there too. Dex, who you got?
I got Jeff Attinella. I mean, he's not part of the poll, but he was a guy that was fantastic tonight. He saved everything that came at him. And when you have a guy like Valeri, who actually probably should win, he was the best player on the night, a guy like Jeff Attinella really sticks out for keeping it simple. Make the saves you need to make. Let your stars go win the game.
Calen?
I got Valeri. Yeah, I mean, the quality on the set piece, even on the second one, that wasn't a simple finish.
That was
kind of going across and
behind the keeper, curling it in.
Great composure
under pressure.
There. Yeah, I mean, if you were to pick one player MVP, the guy who made the biggest impact on the game, you have to go him.
To me, it's Gio Savarese. He made a gutsy call this past weekend, resting his big guns, and it could have backfired on him, but it didn't. The Timbers looked fresh. They looked sharper in the final third, certainly, than Dallas did, and they weren't able to be kicked out of the game. And you wonder if they had 90 extra minutes in their on their legs if they would have been. So, credit to Gio Savarese. He put his team in the best position to go through, and they did.
And not to mention they went down a man for however long, 30 minutes. And you have those guys rested. You have the extra legs to keep pushing. They broke a little bit at the end, but obviously they could see the game out because there was only a few minutes left.
I got to tell you, I was shocked. Like, even though Portland took a relatively early lead, and we all know how Portland liked to play, I was shocked at the amount of space they were allowing in behind for situations exactly like the one that Dom Badji was able to get in behind and get that red card on Laris Malvial. It was a good win. Don't get me wrong, it was a good win for Portland, but it was a little bit of ill discipline on that back line.
I'm hearing here from the producer that we have a 5th nominee, unexpectedly so. Yeah. Speaking of unexpected, yes.
The spider?
It was a good trick. I honestly thought that the light was coming down and that my life was flashing before my eyes. You're here, the Grim Reaper.
I thought the ceiling was falling.
Yeah, Dallas's life in 2018. It's done and dusted. Nice free kick, man. Just inside the near post.
That's unsavable. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't hit it more perfect. Look at that celebration.
That's an MVP celebration. This is spectacular.
Yeah, someone's got to put the Super Saiyan on top of that, I think.
Jeff Adinella doesn't know anything about the head save. I love it when a goalkeeper makes himself big.
It got a little chippy in this game, and then this was a big moment. You thought maybe this was an opportunity for Dallas to get back in it. The Timbers argued, but come on.
We actually didn't think, like, when that happened, I asked the entire bullpen, does anybody have any belief in Dallas's ability to come back and tie this game? And I think there's about 30 people in there, and only one person, only producer Rich, had faith in Dallas.
Party producer Rich.
Only producer Rich had faith in Dallas, and that, to me, that tells the story of this Dallas team in the second half of the year. Even when they had pretty build-ups, even when they had good looks, they weren't able to find the goals that they needed.
Barrios was really the only sort of difference maker, and they kept trying to find him and Cannon on that right-hand side to create something out of nothing. He had the one chance that went off the post thanks to Adnella's head, but it was sort of a one-trick pony. And then maybe just a searching ball in behind for Badji, who's a handful. Mabiala takes a poor angle on that one. They're going to have to replace him for the next round.
Yeah, Bill Tuyama will probably slide in there. That's who came in this game. We'll get to the eulogy for FC Dallas, but first, David Goss was in Frisco. He spoke to Diego Valeri after this match.
Diego, you get the win on the road in the playoffs. You get both goals. Walk us through the first one, the free kick, the moment right after they have the goal called back, you stepping up and taking that.
Yes, I was very confident. I was, looking for that, side of the goal and, just kick it. And I was a little bit like.
The emotions of this game, there's a little bit of a tussle going into halftime. Then you get the red card. What can you say about your team holding it together?
Yeah, it was a hard game. They're a very good team. They have good players. They fight a lot, and it was an ugly game about the field. The field wasn't in the best shape. So I think we fight. We make it ugly too, and we were more efficient than them.
You've won MLS Cup. You've lost early in the playoffs. You know what it takes. What does this group have that maybe you see going all the way this year?
We show a lot of personality today. A big, strong personality. It's not an easy stadium to play, and we show that we are a strong group. We are very united, and we'll fight for another star.
And I know you have to give me a political answer. You could get Seattle next round. You could get KC. Do you care?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. To be honest, to play the MLS Cup final, you have to beat everybody.
Congratulations.
Diego Valeri knows a thing or two about MLS Cup finals. He was the hero in one in Columbus. They got a big dub in that game. They're on their way here into the conference semifinals. They will host a match on Sunday, the Portland Timbers. That is going to be a good time in the Rose City. Diego Valeri, last year he sat at this table after they were eliminated as the MVP of the league. This year I did not hear nearly as much about him as I had before, and his stats weren't as eye-popping. Did we forget a little bit, Dax, about his quality? What did he show you in this match?
I didn't. I know guys that play against him, they don't forget about that quality, especially a guy like him. You don't lose it. And I think the numbers that he put up last year, maybe made it a little tougher on him this year to be noticed and recognized, and maybe flew under the radar a little bit. But like I said before at the top, you pay big money for these guys, these number 10s, to come in and make a difference. He's been a difference maker throughout the season, and he's always on the field. He's always on the field. He's always working hard. It's not just in the goals and assists. It's in the little things that he does for his club that make them better.
He's also the type of guy who will give up those goals and assists, who will be a little more egalitarian in terms of sharing the burden if that's what's best for the team. Like last year, he basically became a second forward because nobody else could score. This year, again, the burden has been shared a little bit better. So he hasn't had to have a lot of nights like this, but it's the playoffs and it's a big road game, and you need a night like this. And there's Diego Valeri getting 2.
Yeah, and you have to also remember this is a new manager, and so he's come in and implemented a little bit of a different system compared to years past. Diego was playing a little bit out on the right-hand side at times early in the season. Now he's come back to play a more customary role in the middle of the park. And look, you're right, Doyle. He has given the team what they needed. When they needed 8 goals in a row in consecutive matches last season, he was able to do that. Late runs in the box, headers, set pieces. But now there's some more pieces around him. Sebastian Blanco has taken a big step forward, and in part, I think, because Valeri has been able to put him in good positions.
I liked Valeri's first goal. It's beautiful. Off the free kick, right into the post. But I really like the second goal. Bobby Warshaw's at the board here to explain how he got it done.
You guys, I love talking about the little things that make these guys geniuses. And if we go back and look at his second goal on the day, it was an easy ball over top from David Guzman to Jeremy Ebobisse. I remember watching this and saying, how is this happening? FC Dallas is a good defensive team. How is this ball coming over top so easily? And this is what I want to point out. This is the thing to notice on this play. Watch as David Guzman gets this ball. Rito Ziegler. Notice, oh, that's the wrong one right there. Notice how he takes just one little step forward. And as he takes a step forward, Dax McCarty, what do you do when you're on the ball?
Looking behind.
You look in behind.
Easy look.
Easy ball there from David Guzman. So the next question is, why was Rito Ziegler stepping forward? I mean, there was no real pressure on the ball. Why was Rito Ziegler stepping ahead on that play instead of side on, getting ready to go back? And here's what I want to point out. Look here, Guzman's on the ball. This is Diego Valeri. In this moment, Diego Valeri is in an even plane with Matt Hedges. When that happens, that means Matt Hedges steps to the man and the 2 players tuck in behind him. But in 1 second, notice how Diego Valeri shuffles to his left and becomes into an even plane with Rito Ziegler. When he goes into Rito Ziegler's plane, that is the sign for Rito Ziegler to step and Matt Hedges to drop. It's that tiny, tiny little movement from Diego Valeri that makes all the difference here. And we talk about his ability on the ball, and that is a heck of a finish. But that little knowledge and that movement to go 3 yards to the side to pull out a defender so his teammate can make a run is so good, guys. And the other part to this, too, is if we run the clips of Dallas's attacks, notice the difference when Dallas gets around the goal compared to what Diego Valeri did. He was so calm. And then look at this. It's that Dallas players getting fast feet, getting a little anxious, getting nervous compared to what Valeri did. Just that little bit of tranquilo, as defensive midfielders in this league are always reminded by the South American players. But the Dallas guys just got anxious, whereas when Valeri got his moment in front of goal, he was so calm, and that's what makes a star player in this league. That little bit of thinking and that little bit of calmness when that ball gets to you.
Every single time Bobby gets on screen here, he's teaching me something. The Meister. I like the Spanish too. I know you've been practicing, man.
I mean, I had that said to me a lot, for better or for worse. I think it was for worse, but
We got to shout out Jeremy Ebobisse again for that play.
Agreed.
He has come in and he has earned the starting job over the last month and a half for this Portland team. He is never, ever going to win a Golden Boot. He's not that type of center forward. The type of center forward he is what you just saw right there. He's really unselfish with his runs. He's really physical, has good feet and good vision. And look, he's got about 10 games worth of MLS minutes. I think he has 3 goals and 6 assists. And that's a number 9, not number 10. So his ability to occupy those center backs and cause them problems opens up space underneath for guys like Valeri and Sebastian Blanco. And there's another difference tonight. The role players for Portland stepped up in a way that FC Dallas didn't.
What ailed FC Dallas tonight? Was this game kind of a microcosm of the bigger issues within the way that roster has been built, with the way they have gone? What is the issue that you see with Dallas?
Well, ever since a huge Matt Doyle favorite, Mauro Diaz, ever since he left, they've kind of struggled and lacked that guy who can pull the strings in there for them. And I know Urruti's been playing there, and he's been pretty good. He's gotten some assists off set pieces, but they don't have a guy that's comfortable sitting in between the lines, getting the ball in the turn, and finding these speedy wingers. Urruti's a much more direct player. He's a striker at heart. He looks for shots. He looks for how he can score goals. And so I think that's really hurt them in the long run, and especially in this game tonight, it played out exactly how we all thought it would. Portland would sit back, Dallas would have to carry the game a little bit more, and when they have to carry the game at home, they just can't really break down a team like Portland who's going to try to hit you on the counterattack.
I agree with the playmaker, and you also have to remember they got rid of Acosta midseason to Colorado. But I really think it comes down to scoring goals, and it was stark a couple weeks ago as well against Sporting Kansas City, a team that may not have a traditional, go-to striker, but does it by committee. They've been able to find goals through the wings, Daniel Shalhoub, Johnny Russell, Kyrie Shelton, timely goals from guys when they need it. And this Dallas team just hasn't been able to find that.
Bobby, I felt like you wanted to jump in.
I don't think that they've had trouble creating chances. I get what you're saying. Mauro Diaz is a big loss. But guys, they created chances tonight in the 3 games they lost before tonight. And if you think about how you're going to score goals, there's really 2 approaches to take, right? You can try and get a lot of low probability opportunities, which is FC Dallas, or a few high probability opportunities. Take the Man City example. They got a lot of low probability opportunities in the last 4 games. They just have the players to finish them. I don't think this was about getting the total number of expected goals. I just think it was about the general quality, or perhaps just the luck, you could say. It might have just been bad luck for 4 games, but I think they got their chances. They just didn't take them the way you would expect.
But that's the difference, right? Because when you had a player like Diaz out there, who is a luxury player, if you're a defensive midfielder, you have to carry him a little bit, maybe a lot. Right. But he gives your strikers, he gives your wingers chances to just walk the ball.
Not just easy chances.
Just like layups, man.
And if you don't have a guy, a number 9, an established number 9, who's a guy who can just put a team on his back and put goals in the net at will, a guy like Josef Martinez, BWP, Zlatan, you're going to need a guy like Diaz to put it on a platter for you in every which way, in the air, on the ground, through balls, crosses, set pieces, whatever. And they don't have that.
Yeah. Well, maybe they do. I think this offseason is going to be about getting Aranguiz acclimated. The 21-year-old Chilean who was the young Chilean player of the year last year, supposed to be Mauro Diaz's replacement. I think I expect him to win a starting job going into next season, and I expect FC Dallas of 2019 to look a little bit more like FC Dallas of the first half of 2018.
What's his ceiling? Is he an Acosta type player?
No, he's not. He's not as energetic and as all action as Acosta can be. He's not, from what I've seen of him, I don't think he's a modern player. He's like a throwback number 10 a lot in the way that Mauro Diaz was. Mauro Diaz is as gifted as they come, but he was never going to get bought by a huge club in Europe because he's really a one-dimensional player. In MLS, that dimension could still be really, really valuable, and I think that's what Aranguiz is supposed to be.
Some work to do for Oscar Pereira in the offseason. FC Dallas are done. That's it for them. David Goss was in Frisco for this match. You saw him catch up with Diego Valeri. Well, he caught up with Gio Savarese as well, who took a chance, and it paid off in this match. They're on to the conference semis.
Coach, let's start here. Your first career MLS playoff game as a manager, your first career win. What's going through your head right now?
First of all, content of the job that the guys did. Very proud of them. Not only the ones that were on the field, but everyone around the team, because the energy was great. They knew that they had to work. We had to work very hard. Dallas is a good team, especially at home, and we knew exactly what they were going to propose. First half, they were proposing dangerous things, especially on their right side. We covered in the second half, but then we became 10 men, and we need a lot of sacrifice in order to get this victory.
When you talked to them at halftime, right after that tussle, the emotional up and downs of that first half, what was the message to the squad?
No, I think that's just 2 teams that really want to win. The emotions are high. They're working very hard, and that's just their moments. But then everything got cleared, and in the second half, the 2 teams worked very hard, and I thought that our adjustments were good in order to make sure that we cover the spaces, and then the commitment of the players, not only defensively but then offensively too, when we had the chances, and Valeri found that second goal that was very, very, very important.
The quality of Diego Valeri, what can you say about this man?
He works some magic again.
And for you took a bit of a risk. You rested players on Sunday. You may have had a home game do you feel about that decision now?
No, very good, because we knew we made the right decision, because this game, either home or here, require from us to be able to be at our top, and it showed. And thank God the guys, they look, very energized through the entire match.
And how do you get them back there for Sunday, so quick turnaround?
First, we're going to enjoy this, because I think it was a very good victory, as I said, against a very good team, against a team that is coached very well, that has good players, that had good season. And now, right after tonight, we have to plan already for the weekend.
And on an away game, you already have a loud Timber supporter section here. What's it going to be like on Sunday?
It's going to be magical. We know the passion of our fans. They're going to come and support the team. We'll see who we're going to get, and we're going to continue to work with our feet on the ground, and being humble the way the guys have been so far.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
I still have not been to the Rose City for a game.
Wow.
A bunch of people are going to see a sweet one on Sunday, though. We don't know who they're going to play yet. Got to figure that out tomorrow night. LAFC and RSL will help us decide. Remember, we reseed after the knockout round, but the Timbers have moved on. They'll slot in against either Sporting Kansas City or Seattle Sounders. Some of you may be praying for that Cascadia match, but it still could come in the next go-round as well. What matchup is best for Portland? What is their ceiling? What should they be hoping for tomorrow night?
I think their ceiling, I see this as a team that can get to MLS Cup just because they have a thing. Their thing is that they sit deep, they defend generally pretty well, and then they have a guy who, as Savarese said, Diego Valeri's magical. He can do things that few other players in the league can do, and you can rely upon that. That said, whether it's Seattle or Sporting KC, they're underdogs. I did pick them in my bracket, but I was kind of just having fun with it. I think that,
You don't look like a guy who has a lot of fun.
the soul harvest is done, Calen.
Now you can have fun.
Let him kick back for the night, all right? Let him kick back.
Everybody's got to have some fun.
No, I mean it's one of those things though. Like nobody here would be shocked if Portland got out of the West, right?
No, absolutely. But I think I agree with you. I do think they are maybe a step behind against Seattle and Sporting Kansas City. And I think partly because of the defensive woes. I think both of those teams have stronger back lines with Chad Marshall and Stephen Fry, and then Melia and
All across the back.
yeah, the whole crew. Yeah, I think the defense. They have the pieces going forward for sure with Valeri to be able to compete and Blanco, but I think the back line give those other two teams an edge.
All right, let's go take a look at what happened earlier in the night. New York City FC, they didn't have a good second half of the season with Dome Trent. There were a lot of injuries. But a lot of those worries appear to be gone, guys. 3-1 win against Philadelphia Union. That is the same scoreline we saw on decision day. Maxi Morales, David Villa, Ismail Tajuri-Shradi, Dax, the stars came to play.
And they have so much quality going forward. When you have so many guys you have to account for, it's always going to be difficult for a defense to keep a shutout, especially when NYCFC is so good at home.
Where does Jan-Hel Herrera rank amongst center midfielders in this league?
Well, he's easily top 10, no question about it. When he's fully fit, fully healthy, he's one of the best there is. Obviously, in terms of young players, young midfielders, for me, he's in the top 3. And he's a guy that NYCFC really missed. He showed his quality today, helped out Alexander Ring. I think they were very comfortable tonight. He controlled the game. It's very simple for him.
You get the treats on Halloween. This is a treat for David Villa. Gets his kids out there. Supporters section, third rail, getting jacked up. Put it in the ball at the back of the net. Do like Daddy does. We don't know. This could be David Villa's last season. As a professional in MLS, both we're not sure. It's a little bit of a mystery, but we know for sure that they are moving on. They are pushing in the conference semis.
Everybody has raved about Wayne Rooney, and justifiably. But if you look at their numbers this year, Wayne Rooney and David Villa played just about the same number of minutes, and they had just about the same level of production. I certainly hope David Villa is back next year in MLS. He makes the league better.
There is the Eastern Conference bracket as it stands. We know what the matchup is going to be down there at the bottom. Atlanta, NYCFC. DC hosting Columbus Crew SC tomorrow night. It's the opening game of the knockout round on Thursday. Check that out. Of course, we'll be here with the pregame and postgame shows as you become accustomed to. Maxi Morales is a name that I think maybe doesn't get the shine that it deserves. Maybe because it's David Villa, maybe because Patrick Vieira was there. But Dax, when you look at what he's done this season, I don't think it's in question. He was there at the very least attacking MVP, maybe team-wide MVP. Almost went for 10 and 16.
Yeah, I felt like he was an MVP candidate of the whole league. about halfway through the year. Obviously, they hit their slump. Obviously, with the coaching change, there was a little bit of, I think, confusion with what his role was. But he was the one constant in their team that never let his level down. His level stayed high throughout the entire season. And when we played them, Chicago Fire played them in New York, he was just a handful. And that's just what he is. He doesn't look like much, but he works hard. He's got quality, and he's got tremendous vision. And then his combination with David Villa is one of the best in the league.
I mean, this is just, when he hit this, I thought, probably going over. That's inches underneath the bar.
Yeah, no, he has that quality. Look, he was able to stretch the field a couple times as well. He's a small guy, but he's pretty quick of feet. And for me, when NYCFC have struggled a little bit, and often against the Dax teams with the New York Red Bulls, was when he had to come back into the midfield and have to try and work on his hold-up play. And Morales is the guy that's able to connect the dots between the lines and be able to find the wingers, find David Villa, their movement, those two. I mean, like you were saying, their understanding of crisscrossing runs, and he plays the first-time ball through the legs of Trusty into Villa.
It's very similar to the relationship that Lucho Acosta and Wayne Rooney have developed, and obviously that's getting all the publicity because it's new. It's the new car smell, right? And so Wayne Rooney, those two guys have been fantastic. These two guys have been doing it for a couple years now. And I think Maxi Morales is a guy that doesn't get enough credit in this league. And I think in these playoffs especially, I think he feels like he has something to prove.
Seemed like your scythe was getting a little heavy there.
No, I had to
having a little trouble. Just felt
harvested a lot of souls tonight.
I didn't know if you were done or not.
I think I decided at some point.
You need to recharge that thing for tomorrow or what?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, 2 more to be harvested, of course. I don't think we'll be in costume, but maybe we'll keep it rolling. DC Columbus get us started, and then LAFC RSL finish off the night. We'll be here for the pregame and postgame shows. Ought to be a good time, and then we learn what's going down on Sunday. Sunday is going to be insane. 4 games, back to back to back to back. Maybe the best day of the year in Major League Soccer. I say that a lot, but this one it's in the top 5. Let's just say that. It's in the top 5. We know one matchup right now. That is NYCFC and Atlanta. What's our gut feeling about this right now?
I think we all feel that DC's prohibitive favorites over Columbus because of their form. For this series, I mean, it depends on. Honestly, it depends on whether Almiron is back. We know he's in training. We know that when he's fit, he's maybe the best player in the league, and we know that Atlanta have not been the same team without him. If he's back, I think they're favorites. It's a big if.
And then the decision comes down to, if you're Tata Martino, do you start him and possibly risk him re-injuring that hamstring, which I know from personal experience this year happened to me. It's a tricky one. So do you risk starting him from the beginning, or do you say maybe we're going to take it a little easy, play a little bit more defensive in that first leg, try to get a 1-goal win or a draw, or maybe stop the damage, and then have him fully fit at home?
You just played Atlanta United. What did you see on the field?
Yeah, they lose something without Almiron. I mean, it's clear. In transition, they aren't as fast. And clearly, he's a guy who brings an element of speed that I can't even tell you guys. It's extremely tough running.
Calen Carr speed.
Running a little faster. A little faster. Yeah, he's a little faster.
A lot faster.
And that magic left foot's just a little better than your left foot.
Dax brought up a point that I want to mention. Atlanta United bought Miguel Almiron partially for his ability on the field, but also as an asset. When they paid that $7, $8, $9 million, whatever it was, there was a plan to flip him. And all of a sudden, he's an asset that could potentially get them $35, $40 million, whatever it's going to be. So it's not just whether they want to play him for this weekend, potentially re-injuring it for the next weekend, but he's not just a player on their team that's trying to get them a win. He is someone that's part of their long-term plan and that asset that can help them grow long-term, because they're not just a club that wants to win today. They're a club that wants to make money and spend that money down the line. So this is a big thing that they have to decide.
Pity Martinez. You might know that name from Copa Libertadores. By the way, Boca River, that's going to be awesome. Almost as good as the MLS Cup playoffs. Susanna Collins was at Yankee Stadium for us tonight. She caught up with Alex Ring after this win for NYCFC.
Ahead to Atlanta, why do you think that this is an NYCFC team that can beat them over 2 legs?
Yeah, I think if you just look at the last 2 years, the games we've had against Atlanta have always been exciting. 2 teams that want to play, very intense game. I'm looking forward to it. That's what the playoffs is all about. I wouldn't have it any other way. Some points you have to face them. I don't care when it is, as long as we win.
You've had a couple draws against them. They felt like playoff matches. What are you anticipating in this series?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less. Playoff or regular season, I think those games against Atlanta are for both teams a little bit of a highlight because you have two individually very good teams, two good teams, like I said, always intense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's what you play for, it's what you go to preseason for, it's what I ran in Finland for when it was cold. So yeah, this is what I've been working for, the team has been working for, and we're looking forward to it.
Mentally, physically, where is the team at right now? Because this is a lot of soccer in a short period of time. You guys are set to play again on Sunday. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, it's all about recovery now, getting physically back to better shape than maybe the feeling now after the game. But I think it's good. We have a good momentum. Atlanta hasn't played for a week now. I remember last year when we didn't play the week, it was hard to get into the game in Columbus when they played before us. So maybe it would be advantage, maybe not. I mean, it's hard to say right now. We'll see on Sunday.
Running in Finland for this. I'm sure it was cold. It's about to get even colder. MLS Cup playoff time. Temperatures drop. Who's tonight's knockout round MVP? Well, you've spoken. Diego Valeri, 84%. That's Dax McCarty / Chucky-esque. Winning polls. Savarese down at the bottom. Morales, come on, give him some more love, folks. Same with David Villa. But Diego Valeri, recency biased. He was the big star in the second half of this game tonight. Of course, we're all pushing ahead to Thursday night and then Sunday. That's what this is all about. Survive and advance. NYCFC did it. Same thing for Portland. Now we got to see what happens tomorrow. All right, let's look ahead real quick. DC United, Columbus Crew SC. Thoughts? What are you looking for? Crew SC on the road. They don't score.
Yeah, they don't score on the road. They, I think, have 11 or 12 road goals.
It's 11.
All year. It's okay. So they have 11 all year. Jesse Zardes has 19 goals on the season, 2 of them outside of Columbus. So, there's not a lot of reason to believe in this team's ability to go to Audi Field and get a result, especially with the way that DC have been playing. That said, we've seen Greg Berhalter teams do it in the playoffs before. I mean, Dax, you saw it up close, I believe, a few years back. No, or was that before you were?
We did.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
We did. That was tough.
You knew that answer, Matt. You knew that.
I just remember, yeah.
Hey, I'm the Grim Reaper, and let me just ask you a real
Is that the
casual
quickest
question.
goal in playoff history up there in Columbus?
Greg Berhalter in the playoffs, what'd you see from him tactically?
Well, he's going to do the same thing he always does. And their teams, I think, especially Columbus, it doesn't really matter who they play. They want to be the team that's going to dictate the terms of the game. You're going to see Will Trapp drop deep in between the center backs. They're going to play out of the back. Doesn't matter if DC presses high, doesn't press. They're going to do the same things. They're going to try to play. And I think Giassi Zardes is obviously a key for them because if he's not scoring, then who is? And then who's going to start at the winger positions? I mean, those are big question marks, and I'm curious to see how Berhalter chooses to insert different guys into his lineup.
What do you see from the DC side? Oh, sorry, Bobby.
I was going to say, to answer your question, I think he's going to set up the way he did against Toronto in the opening game of this season. He's got time to game plan just like he did. And their main focus was when Toronto sent the outside backs forward, which DC will, whether it's O'Neal Fisher, Paul Ariel, or Nick De Leon, and Joe Moore on the outside, they are going to send their wingers. They're going to send Giassi Zardes straight ahead. They're going to people are going to hit those through balls. So think about that Toronto game where they beat Toronto 2-0 in the opening game of the season. I expect that's how Berhalter's going to set this one up.
Audi Field.
Jeez, that was a long time ago.
I'm trying to think about that game.
I know. All logic points to DC winning this game because of how they've been at home. But I can't help but remember you were saying, like, last year in the playoffs, what they did in Atlanta United and how they were able to kind of, actually, they didn't just sit back. They went end to end.
Yeah.
The game was 0-0.
And they will.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the same situation. They're not going to go there and just sit back into a shell. I think Berhalter's still going to take an aggressive approach. And look, I think this game could be complicated for DC. I know they have all the momentum and everything going for them, but there's an experience and something about this Columbus side that I've always liked is that they feel overlooked. We never talk about them really in the scope of Eastern Conference favorites. And part of it's their form has been good as of late. But, you know, Zach Steffen's a year better. Will Trapp's a year more experienced with the national team. Giassi Zardes is coming off a hat trick. I think this could be more complicated than people expect.
Got a lot to play for, too. They got some good news lately in Columbus. The other game, the late game, LAFC RSL. Mike Pecky said it was a 1 in a million chance that they would make the playoffs. Well, that paid off for him. So, Doyle, what is the chance that they advance from the knockout round?
It's better than 1 in a million, but it's still not great. They played LAFC twice this year, and LAFC handled them pretty well. And the thing with LAFC is that if your midfield is at all ragged, they find the gaps and they hit those gaps. And when they do, they have guys like these two, Carlos Vela and Diego Rossi, to finish you off. And I just don't think that RSL are quite organized enough in critical spots to hang with LAFC, especially on the road.
Bob Bradley, what have you made of the job he's done this year?
He's been tremendous, and I think we all knew Bob was a great coach. Everywhere he's been, he's put his stamp on a team. LAFC, obviously, plenty of resources to go out and get good players, but you still have to put those good players into a system, and you have to make those good players do what you want to do. And the biggest thing for me that I see from this team, and Bobby talks about this all the time, the central midfield. Benny Feilhaber, Lee Wen. 2 traditional attacking midfielders that he has squeezed in and got them to buy into defending as a unit and protecting that back four. So will be interesting to see the lineup if he goes with Atuesta, if he goes with Vela in the middle, if he goes with Lee and Benny holding. But those 2 guys have bought in and they've been really good for LAFC. Everything good that they do going forward usually starts with one of those guys.
So you see the 2-0 there. LAFC, 2 wins in 2 games against RSL. It was 7-1 aggregate on scoring. If RSL want to get this thing done, they're not good away from the riot. They got to find some scoring opportunities. Bobby, tell us how they're going to do that.
Yeah, the big thing with both these teams is movement off the ball. The attackers getting off the blind shoulder of the defenders. And as we see here in this highlight, look at the goalkeeper. Look where his eyes are. Now look, the attacker comes in, catches him on the blind side. But here's the other thing I want to point out, right? In the playoffs, it's so important, reactions. How do you respond to adversity? Look at this. Look, bad thing happens, just defeated. Look, you know what? Right here, this general area, defeated. There you see it, not good enough. This defensive team needs to be better.
So, 2 shows, 2 instances on the breakdown that had lies, full-on lies.
I saw no lies. A Maester doesn't tell a lie.
I know. I thought this was going to be an incredible breakdown of RSL scoring chances. They got some horses, though. They do. They got a great opportunity to win this game. We'll see what happens. Savarino, Rusnak, Plata, maybe Corey Baird. LAFC, RSL finish it up on Thursday night. And the first game, DC Columbus Crew SC. Tonight, though, NYCFC moves on. So do the Portland Timbers. Their seasons continue. FC Dallas is going home. Sorry, guys. As well as, of course...
I was waiting for this.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That's it. Souls have been taken.
It's having way too much
That's it for us.
Take it away from
Halloween's over. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. MLS Cup playoffs continue.
Ha 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 ha!